Hello, and welcome to our introductory course on data visualization. This is the sixth class in our course, and it will cover graphs that allow us to visualize evolution and flow data, such as the Sankey and Gantt charts, respectively. Evolution and flow. For this type of graph, we are going to study the line chart, Sankey chart, and Gantt chart. Each one of them deals with completely different type of visualization and of insight that we want to extract from the data or from the variable. The main use of line chart is to show patterns, trends, changes, and anomalies in the data over time. That's an interesting characteristic. Well, actually, we can use line charts for variables that are not measured over time. They can be measured, for example, based on another type of variable, for example, quantity. But in most cases, line charts are used with variables that change with time. And the common type of data is continuous one-dimensional sequences, and the interpretation is the identification of trends, changes in direction or magnitude of the trend, and we can look for spikes, we can look for dips, we can look for repeating patterns, for example, seasonalities or cycles. All this type of information we can find using a line chart. So here I'm showing three examples of line charts. The first one is the life expectancy over time. This is for the Gapminder dataset. We can see that the life expectancy increased from approximately 67 years old in 1998 up to 73 in 2019. So in approximately 30 years, the life expectancy increased around 6 years. In terms of CO2 consumption over time, we observed that we had a peak around 2007, then it had a major decrease. It increased a little bit again, and then in 2019, it was showing a slight increase from the year 2016. In terms of the Human Development Index, we also observed a major increase over the span of this almost 30 years between 98 and 2019. Now I'm showing the life expectancy per continent and the HDI index per continent, both cases over time. For all continents, we can observe an increase in the life expectancy over time, with a higher increase for Africa, but it's still below the other countries, but it's moving quickly for the same level of the other countries. And the HDI index by continent, we can also observe an increase for all continents. The Sankey chart is a chart that is focused on comparing or visualizing the flow of data or the flow of any specific measure that you want through different stages. And these stages are usually represented as nodes in the Sankey chart. Okay? So these transitions or this flow marks what differentiates the Sankey chart when compared with the other charts that we've seen so far. And they can be used with categorical or numerical data. The Sankey chart that we have here is basically a discussion of how you can evolve your academic career. So you can leave a bachelor's degree, for example, an undergraduate or a college degree here, and you can go straight to the industry to work in a company or to create your own company, or you can go from the college to a master's, and then from the master's to the PhD. From the PhD, you can go to a postdoc. From a postdoc, you can become a faculty, or from a postdoc, you can go to the industry. Note that each flow of this one indicates a potential move in your career. And the width of the flow is a representation of the volume of people that go from one of these nodes to another. And as you can observe, it's much more common for someone that does a master's to do a PhD and to become a faculty than it is to go to the industry, based on the data that was used to draw this chart. From the industry, you can remain in the industry to different types of industries, different jobs. You can progress in the career, or you can, from industry, you can leave and become a faculty if you want. And you can become a faculty straight from college, though it's more difficult because usually to become a faculty, you need a higher degree than the bachelor's degree. From the PhD, you can also go to the industry instead of becoming a faculty. So there are many possible ways, okay? And this is what is being shown here in this Sankey chart. The Gantt chart is very different from the Sankey chart in the sense that it's used to visualize and explore the timeline of tasks, their durations, and dependencies over time. Again, it's dealing with the flow of data, with the flow of information, but now the idea is to understand, to analyze the timeline of these tasks and how you move from one task to another. And when we talk about time here, this time can be any order of time that you want. It can be hours, it can be days, months, years, any measure, virtually any measure that you want. And you can have some milestones that you want to achieve, and these milestones can appear in the Gantt chart. Let's play, for example, with the same context that we played with the Sankey chart, but the Sankey chart, we were showing the movements from one stage to another. And here I am showing the timelines, the progression of the moves between the different steps. So I'm saying that, I don't know, by the end of this decade, you're going to finish your bachelor's, then you're going to take a couple of years in your master's, then 3 or 4 years in your PhD, a couple of years in your postdoc, you spend some years as a faculty, and then you will retire after working many years at the industry. Okay, note that this is all organized by year, and you're moving each of these categories or stages over the years. And there is no intersection in this case, but there could be, right? I could, for example, start my PhD before I finished my master's. It's possible in some places, in others, it's not. You need to have the master's before you take your PhD. You can be a faculty and work at the industry at the same time, so it's possible, right? So the Gantt chart gives you this flexibility of starting one stage or one step or one task whilst still in another step. Thank you for watching and see you in our next class. Do not forget to subscribe and look at the other courses and series available in the channel.